Good. Hi, everyone. This is Cruz, and we want to show a continuation of the YUS Show. And so we have Yulin Xu, who will continue and discuss Chinese poetry.
All right. So since this is a fun show, so I thought that would be really cool to share a poem that was written by Luo BinWang. He is a very famous Tang Dynasty poet, and he wrote this when he was 7 years old. It goes like this: 曲项向天歌，白毛浮绿水，绿掌拨清波。What this means is means goose, goose, goose. It's a kid, 7-year-old kid. Goose, goose, goose. 曲项，曲 means curved neck. 曲项 curved neck. 向天歌，向 means face. Curved neck, facing the sky and singing. 曲项向天歌. You can imagine beautiful neck facing the sky and look at the sky in happiness and start to sing. So that's 曲项向天歌。白毛浮绿水，白 means white, 毛 feather, 浮 means floating, 绿 green, 水 water. 白毛浮绿水. So you can imagine that the goose, 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 the curled neck facing the sky and singing, the white feather floating happily on top of the green water. What a beautiful scene. 红掌拨清波. Hong, the red feet. 红掌 red feet. 波 playing with clear water. 清 clear, 波 water. So this was written by a 7-year-old poet in Tang Dynasty, that is almost 1400 years ago. So hope that we can all learn a little bit about Tang Dynasty. 曲项向天歌，白毛浮绿水，绿掌拨清波. All right, back to you. American style now.
I think so. I must say, for a 7-year-old boy to write that poem is pretty impressive. We call someone like that a prodigy, a child prodigy, someone who's far beyond his years. And so hats off to him. I think that's one of the reasons, in addition to it being beautiful poetry and a beautiful image, the skill that he had at the age of 7, that's phenomenal. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, Luo BinWang. There are hundreds of poems like this in Tang Dynasty, and the Song Dynasty is another very beautiful literature part from China as well. It's really, really fun. So I'm sure a lot of things similar in the past few hundred years in the US as well. So for example, you are the expert of Bob Hope Show. So we would love to hear from you. Continue about American jokes, comedy.
Well, one of, just as a continuation of my stories about Hope. Now, Hope went to China in '79, organized this remarkable 3-hour TV spectacle. And so he had a number of jokes. Now, of course, there were a lot of other things involved too. But let me continue with some of the jokes. And he begins with a rather ordinary kind of thank you. And the Chinese, this is Hope speaking, the Chinese government was so gracious to invite me. I hear that I'm the 5th thing they're planning to modernize. So, of course, in '79, the Chinese were planning on 4 modernizations. And so Hope, because he was elderly, he sort of was poking fun at himself. He needed the modernization too, along with all the Chinese things. So the Chinese were so gracious. I hear that I'm the fifth thing they're going to modernize. Now, he continues here. I'm part of a cultural exchange program. The U.S. State Department sent me over here, and the Chinese sent back an ox who can count from 1 to 10. So here he's being derogatory about himself. They get Bob Hope, who can't even count from 1 to 10, but the Americans get an ox who is so brilliant he can count from 1 to 10. Of course, it's a double joke in a way. How many oxes can count from 1 to 10? It's wonderful. And that's right. Now he talks about his trip from the airport to the hotel. And of course, I'm sure he got a very nice limousine. And they gave me quite a ride from the airport to the hotel. Twice I fell off the handlebars. So he was talking about being taken on a bicycle, but he's on the handlebars, and twice he fell off. So the joke is really about handlebars, and that he's really only being given a ride on a bicycle, which of course is not the case. And here's two more. I had a great ride, but I did have a great ride on a bicycle. I did develop a problem. Before I could figure out how to use the brakes, I found I was in Nanjing, so he didn't know how to stop. He just kept going from Beijing to Nanjing. That's maybe 1,000 miles. It's like, so it's exaggeration. Here the joke is about exaggerating, and so on. And of course, being a dumb foreigner, he's a Lao Wai, so he doesn't know anything about. He doesn't know about bicycles. He can't even figure out how to stop a bicycle. That's so dumb. And so let's see, here we are. And this is one of my favorites. So this is about halfway through his joke column here. And can you believe all the auto horns in Beijing? Can you believe all the auto horns in Beijing? Beijing sounds just like a whole city got married.
So all the noises people are making him realize, okay, maybe people are getting married everywhere.
It doesn't have to do with traffic. It's about getting married. So
actually, for Chinese people, in addition to Bob Hope, Charlie Chaplin is very famous. So everybody would know Charlie Chaplin, the clown. So before we end, I would like to just, because it's getting late right now, I just want to show a little bit of trick for TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. For hope this will be helpful from China, from TCM. So for some people who cannot sleep well, there's a little trick. So if this is your foot, the bottom of your foot, the back of your foot in the middle, if you press in the middle for let's see, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, for sure you're gonna fall asleep like a baby. But of course, it will be best if you soak your feet in hot water first. That will be even better because the skin will be soft, and then you can just press it in the middle. So that's a magic acupoint to make you fall to sleep beautifully.
Oh, well, that sounds like wonderful advice. Yeah, I haven't had any problems with falling asleep lately, so I'm good to go in that one. But there were times when it's getting a good night's sleep is very precious. So thank you, traditional Chinese medicine, and thank you very much, Yulin. I think it's time to wrap up. So I will say good night to Yulin, and on behalf of Yulin and Steve, who is not here, and myself, I'd like to thank you for listening in on this first edition of the YUS Show. So we hope to continue, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future, having fun and develop friendship.
Yes, this is all about friendship, about bringing you laughter, and we're going to continue exchanging stories of Chinese culture and American culture, and we hope you enjoy a good time. We'll come back on the 22nd every month, and stay tuned. 再见
Bye.
Good night